Breaking news, Columbia Green Federal Credit Union just saved our member $105 a month on their car payment.
That's no surprise. CGFCU helps our members save thousands.
Wait, thousands?
Yep, we have fantastic rates and flexible terms.
We save our members by refinancing autos, boats, campers, and even credit cards.
Apply today, see how much you can save.
All right, welcome back to Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. This week we have first-year head coach over at Taconic Hills, Tom Super. Thanks for coming in, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Tom, I know you are the first-year coach at Taconic Hills, but this isn't your first time at the rodeo. You've been coaching in the past. You coached Hudson Girls, right, a few years back?
Yeah, I currently work in Hudson. Been there 17 years, and I've coached every year I've been there. Started way back with freshman boys when they used to have freshman boys. I've done JV boys, I've done modified both ends, and I've done some varsity girls for, I think it was 7-8 years, something like that. So, yeah, I've been around a little bit.
Well, we'll backtrack a little bit. Now, you're a Hudson High graduate. You played for the legendary Hank Thieves. What was that like?
That was intense. That was definitely, let's say, more old school than it is now.
Let's Coach Thieves.
I recall holding like sandbags up on defense, wearing different things if you miss a shot. Pre-practice stuff that you had to take care of before the actual practice. Very intense, but a good teacher of the game, and I'm glad I got to do it.
No question. I mean, I believe it was 327 wins that he accumulated during his tenure at Hudson High School, the early 70s through the mid-90s. And again, you were a part of that. What years did you play for Coach Thieves?
I graduated 93, so it would be the previous 2 years, 92, 91.
Talk to us about maybe some of the really good teams that you played on in Hudson.
Well, I recall like Alan Clanton.
Oh, you did play with Alan? Okay.
I did.
All right.
Both Williams, Macklin, and James.
Right.
A good friend of mine, Scott Febby, was an excellent point guard.
Point guard, yeah, he sure was.
So those are the ones that come to mind right away. I remember watching the older crew too. Hank's son, that group.
Yep, Henry played.
So yeah, I was around a lot.
No question. Now, upon graduation, you went to school.
I went to Columbia Green after high school, and then I went to Plattsburgh, received a bachelor's in criminal justice, believe it or not, and then decided to go back for my master's back to Plattsburgh. I got a teaching degree, sent out 100 resumes, with Hudson being last on my list, and I ended up in Hudson.
Is that right? Now, why would Hudson be last? You'd think that would be first on your list since you're an alum?
I kind of wanted to get out and about and,
a lot
not
of people do.
Stay home so much, but I wouldn't change anything now. I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, you can't beat the blue and gold, you know that.
Now, you guys, did you move over to the Taconic Hills School District?
Yeah, about, I think it's 3.5 years ago, I bought a house in Copac. At that time, I was still taking my kids to Hudson with me to finish out the year. And then the following year, they went to or attended Taconic Hills. This is their third year. Second full year in Taconic Hills.
Taconic Hills.
And then you kind of followed them back over to
yeah, well, I'm in the gym quite often there too. My kids are involved in a travel league over there, so I'm helping out there. And I found out that there was a coaching vacancy, and I wasn't sure I was going to put in for it yet. My kids are 11, 8, and 3. And they keep me busy.
Absolutely.
So I talked to my wife, made some decisions, and we decided to put my application in, see what happens. If we get it, that's great. If not, no big deal. And I ended up getting the job.
Now, how long had you been out of coaching? I know it wasn't long.
It was about a year. I did the modified girls for a couple years. That was at the tail end. And then I decided that my family and kids are going to come before basketball. But now that my kids are involved in basketball, it's kind of like they go hand in hand.
There you go. Hopefully one day you'll be able to coach them.
That's the plan.
Yep.
That's the plan.
No question about it. Now, you mentioned you've coached girls, you've coached boys. Is there that much of a difference? I mean, besides the physical, part of the game, is there a whole lot of difference in the mental aspects of it between coaching girls and coaching guys?
I'd say the main difference is, strength, obviously. And boys tend to watch it more on TV, which leads to maybe better decisions on the court just because they're aware of what's going on. You know, for example, girls might take 2 passes to get it cross court, where the men can just throw an overhead pass and kind of get it there.
Sure.
Girls listen better though.
Play maybe a better fundamental game, maybe.
Yeah, they definitely listen to what I could say. You go here, you go there, and sure enough, that's where they are.
More
There's
coachable
no changing.
almost.
Yeah, definitely more coachable.
I guess it depends on the kid, though, too. You know, because
Sure.
You know, speaking of coachable kids, I got 2 words: Russ Beck. He's your guy at Takana Kills.
He's my guy. Going back over the summer when I got the job, we had our first summer league game, and when the kids got to the gym, I've only met them once, and then I had more show up. I didn't even know their names.
Right. That's right, because you took the job in what, June? Of this?
Yeah, it was right before summer league.
Right.
So as these kids are showing up, I'm introducing myself, and
Hey, I'm your new coach.
off we go.
Yeah.
And Russ is a gamer. He's a dedicated basketball player. He's constantly got a ball in his hand. He's my go-to player, no secret about it. And as we go, he goes.
Yeah, no question. I've seen him at games where he'll come out during the course of a JV game, of course, as you mentioned, with the ball in his hand, dribbling the ball there, and during the timeout, he'll go out and take a few shots. I mean, it's like he watches the game, you know, and sees it maybe differently than others. I mean, just a student of the game, and I've never seen him, but he works so hard on the floor.
He's a leader. He's always the first one at practice. Matter of fact, yesterday we went, we had practice to prepare for today, and he was waiting at the door for me. And I get there early.
No surprise.
And he's always I left him there last night. I left before him, so he's always the first one there, last one out, and he's making the best of his senior year.
And you can see he's just not the type of kid that just looking to score 30 points a game. Yeah, he can get 30 points a game and has gotten 30 points a game, but he can also distribute the ball. Is tough on the boards. Can really basically do everything and do it well. So yeah, definitely one of those kids that almost every team would want on their side.
He's the whole package. I think he would start for anybody in the Patron. Bottom line is it comes down to winning. If we win, he could have 0 points, 10 assists. He's happy.
He's happy. It's all about the win. That's a good thing. And he's, we understand, closing in on a bit of a milestone as well, coming down the pipe.
Yeah, this is my first year there, so I had to do some research, and he's creeping towards 1,000. He's not quite close enough yet.
Of course, he won't talk about it.
No, very humble guy, doesn't really want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it much.
Sure, that's all right.
But it's approaching. Hopefully, if things go well, towards the end of the season sometime.
It's been a while since the Takana Kills had a 1,000-point scorer. I think Sam Slump was the last one around 2003.
I believe he's the only one.
The only one.
The only one, yes. So Russ, if he attains it, would be number 2.
Number 2.
That's pretty good company right there to begin with.
Not bad.
No question. Now, you're off to a solid start this year. I mean, a real good solid start. I know probably not as good as you would like it to be, but you're competitive and you're winning games.
Yeah, we've had some ups and downs. First game of the year, a buzzer beater, double overtime win against Germantown.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I could take this.
You're getting older, man.
And Chatham, we had a lead at halftime, ended up losing on a buzzer beater. We were at Maple Hill, up 12, I believe, at the half, ended up losing.
That's a good team out there too.
The Hudson game, we were up at the half, ended up losing. So we're competing. We just can't kind of get over that hump, but we're definitely no easy W for anybody.
Not at all. I was at the Hudson game, and I was actually shocked. And I don't mean that in any way as a put down of Takana Kills of the program, but the Hudson, again, is one of the top teams in the league. And here you are as a first-year coach. You've got them on the ropes. You're up, I believe it was by 7 or 8 in the first half, and then 5 at halftime. I mean, but it just seemed like the team kind of the tank was emptied at that time.
Yeah, Hudson's athletes are they're just tough. They don't stop. They continue to come at you, and I don't go too deep on my bench. And it kind of seemed like we ran out of gas. I'm a good loser, so I'm not blaming that.
No, I know that.
We lost the game, and I say we lost the game because I'm part of it.
Sure.
And we'll see what happens next time around, but we'll give it a shot.
When you get them at their place, your place rather, you had them at their place this time. But yeah, I mean, it could be different the second time around.
We'll see.
For sure. But are you happy where you are right now in terms of progress? Again, of course, you'd like to be 6-7-0 right now, but at this point, do you like what you've seen of the team thus far in the first year as head coach?
I do like what I'm seeing. I do. We have to kind of clean things up in practice where it would roll over to a game.
Right.
I do have 4 starters returning next year, so there's a little bit of optimism there.
Sure.
You know, the kids do work hard in practice. I just want a little bit more out of them and pay attention to some details that are necessary to maybe get over that hump. But I do like where I'm at right now, and what are we, a third of the way through? So we got lots of basketball to go yet.
No question about it. But as far as where you fit in the platoon, what do you think you can be at the end of the season? And again, I know it's hard to look into the crystal ball and look that far ahead, and there is still a lot of basketball to be played, but where would you like to see this team finish up?
Realistically, I think we can finish above middle of the pack, maybe 4. If things go our way, maybe 3. If things don't go our way, it could be 6 or 7.
Sure. You can say that for a lot of teams in this league.
Yeah.
I think the middle's kind of clumped up. You know, there's a team at the bottom that actually got a W the other day. And the top 2 teams are obvious, Hudson and Catskill. I think anybody else can beat anybody on a given night.
No question. No question about it. It is a tough league. We've said this before. I mean, that the league gets a lot of, flack as not being one of the stronger leagues, and maybe top to bottom it's not. But there's definitely some quality talent in there and good coaching. So I think the platoon gets a bad rap. We say that all the time, and I really believe that. But now you're involved in the holiday tournament. By the time we tape this, you'll probably already have played a game. But you play Weebatuck in your holiday tournament, the first round, and also in the tournament is Pine Plains and New Lebanon. Pine Plains is a state-ranked team in Class C at last check. How do you see that tournament evolving?
Well, ideally, we'd like to win today. At least get to that championship game tomorrow. I don't know that much about Weebatuck. I do have a couple of scouting reports on them. But I'm going to roll with Russ and have everybody else play their role and see what happens. We tip off at 7 o'clock.
You're right.
And then New Lebanon Pine Plains is before us. I hear New Lebanon's big. They have a couple common opponents.
Yep.
So I can maybe make a few phone calls or emails and see what happens there. I know the coach's son is a big part of their team, New Lebanon.
Yep.
And Pine Plains, we've played twice over the summer when I was first getting into it.
That's right.
And we ended up beating them the second time. They were missing one of their guards, but again, you got to play the game, and that's going to be a good matchup, I think, New Lebanon and Pine Plains.
No question about it. It's going to be a good tournament all the way around. Looking ahead, towards the end of the season, I mean, have you even thought about sectionals? I mean, I know it's been a while since the Titans have been in the sectionals. Have you set a goal, not only to make the sectionals, but is there a standard that would allow you to go in? For instance, are you going to say we have to be 500 in order to go, or do you just feel if you're playing well at the end of the season, regardless of record, we're going?
I think the way it's going to work is if we stay competitive and not get blown out. I think I can get the green light to go from my athletic director, who's been awesome. The whole Taconic Hills community has been great, accepting me, talking to me. It's just been a wonderful experience out there. But I think if we stay competitive, I'd like to get Russ there. He's a senior, hasn't been.
Sure.
And
be a nice gift.
Even if it's a play-in game or something like that, at least we can say we went, and you never know.
Be a nice thing to see. As you say, he deserves that as well. He's been a gamer for a long time out at Taconic Hills, and it'd be nice little present to wrap up his career. And who knows, once you get in there,
of practice too.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly, for the young kids. I mean, to get that extra week in there. But I know you've got some youngsters coming along, as you say. Now you've been working with them. And youngsters in general, what do you think it will take to make Taconic Hills a consistent winner? Is it starting with the young kids and seeing them through, and just to keep?
I think
the
change in culture maybe where winning is expected, not so much like maybe we can win. And it does start at the younger level. Our travel teams are great, 3-4. We have a 3-4 travel team, a 5-6 travel team. So they're constantly playing. And I could use a little size out there if you know how to get any of that. That would be fantastic.
That's right. Yeah.
But there is a couple good groups coming up, and if if we stay with what we got and continue to work hard, we'll see.
It's a great thing, too, because when you start them out in third and fourth grade, by the time they're in high school, like a sophomore or junior, they've already played, 7 or 8 years. So they're in the system already. They know what's expected of them. They know, exactly what the coaches want. And continuity is, I think, a big part of it, too. And hopefully you'll be there. And
it is. And it's nice that the kids see me in the gym.
They get to know
not
you.
just from their team.
Right.
You got the varsity, you got the JV, we got the travel. Oh, Coach Super's always here. Yeah, I am.
No question. Hopefully for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully.
And we talked a lot about Russ Beck. Who are some of the other guys on your team that are really stepping up this year?
Well, I have a point guard, Colby Clegg. He's a quick little point guard. He's not quite where I need him yet, but he's getting there. I think size hurts him a little bit. I also have a swing guard. His name's Devin Sharon. He's a junior.
Good athlete.
He's probably my best defensive player. When he gets hot, and one of these games you'll see. So I would say those two. Another wonderful kid who's been at every practice, comes early, is Trevor New. He's a junior. He can jump like no one. He can jump out of the gym, and he's been fantastic. His attitude's great. So one thing I got to say is that I have no worries out there. The only thing I have to do is coach.
Yeah,
there's no drama. There's no. It's just nice.
That's nice, especially for a first-year coach.
Yeah,
not to have to deal with that.
Yep.
No question. And you've also got Shane Bradway that's keep in mind.
Shane, I convinced to. I actually went to a football practice and pulled him aside and said, "Hey, Shane, bud, let's go."
Yeah.
And he's been dealing with a sprained ankle. He's back now, but he's a big part too. He is an animal on the boards.
Oh, he's tough.
Just got to watch his foul situation from time to time, but that's what you get from playing aggressive.
Well, it's hard to believe he's just a sophomore. He's already been a 3-year starter on the varsity football team, so you think he's a senior, but he's only a 10th grader, so hopefully he'll be around and develop.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to working with him next couple of years.
Absolutely. No question. But, before we go, I want to mention the passing of Eric Swain. He was a big part of that Catskill basketball community. Anybody that's followed the local high school sports over the years knows that the early 80s Catskill basketball teams were some of the best we've ever seen in this area. And Eric lost his battle with cancer over the weekend in Rutland, Vermont. He was only 52 years old. He was a 4-year varsity starter for the Cats, led them to 2 state championship games. He went on to play for future NBA coach Stan Van Gundy at Castleton State. He later went on to do some coaching at the high school level himself. Just a sad occurrence, and he'll definitely be missed. I want to thank him for the memories, and certainly our hearts and thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to his family and friends. He won't be forgotten.
All right, well, Coach, I appreciate you stopping by, and we're definitely rooting for the Titans.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Tom. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union.